Hello guys, and long time no see, and welcome to today's video. We're going to get into some in-season Premier League defenders, all for £5 and under. So just before we get into the video guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also a like on the video. Now let's get straight back into it. Now obviously today I've got 10 different Premier League defenders, all for under that £5 mark, and we're going to crack on with someone like Malo Gusto. Now for only £2.65, I think it is a really good buy. Now we can see that from his scores, and we'll chop this, I'll change this to Chelsea here. Very solid, I think, in regards to scores, especially initially the first period of when he joined Chelsea. Had a little bit of a slump here, I think, in and out of injuries and game time all up as well. And now it looks like Reece James has been listed as injured again, basically. So he was very much in and out of the team, wasn't playing, as you can see here, in regards to, is it the Europa Conference that they are in? As you can see, not playing against Panathinaikos, Artsak, where else is there? Ghent as well. So he's obviously not playing for that. But if we chop it down to the English Premier League, I think those sort of scores aren't too shabby at all. And what you have to look at as well in regards to his results for the back end of this so far for Chelsea's results, although they're playing decently, they have played against, in the last 5 or last 6 or 7 here, they've played Brighton, Nottingham, who have been on fire, Liverpool, Newcastle, United away, and Arsenal as well. So they've had some difficult runs, and as you can see, these have just been the Premier League games. I've not taken away sub appearances or just not getting an appearance at all. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row that he has played for Chelsea at either right back typically, or sometimes at the left back position. You can see here against Liverpool, where he put up some decent AA even in a 2-1 loss. Now, in regards to AA, he's putting 10.1 assists. He's putting 4. I'd like to see in regards to getting rid of sub appearances, it is 12.1. So very, very solid. And again, if you see this sort of lineups coming against Leicester this weekend, who obviously are finding it difficult just to be able to score or get any sort of points on the board. Heidenheim, obviously, I doubt he's going to play there unless he does chop and change, I should say, for Reece James. Reece James. I'm unsure of that situation there. And then they got Villa at home, which they could win because Villa are finding, I think, although they're a good team, they are finding it difficult to balance out the squad with Europa League also. And then obviously you got Southampton, who should be a good win. Tottenham are always up in the air. Then home Brentford, Everton, and even Shamrock if he does end up playing in the Europa Conference. Now, I think again very, very solid, and because I got 10 of these players to chop through, I'm just going to try and keep it short and sweet. But yeah, for only £2.65 for his in-season for under 23 Premier League right back of the quality he has at the moment, I think again is very, very solid value. Next I have Tyreek Mitchell. That's the left back or left mid of Crystal Palace. Now Crystal Palace are going through a bit of a slump at the moment. I do feel like they're probably going to have some sort of change very, very soon. Maybe even a new manager bounce, in which case then I think he's going to be a beneficiary of. £1.85 here for his in-season. I think it's very solid. As you can see, these are the scores so far. Even this season, if we just cut it through over maybe the last 6 months, here you go. Yeah, decent scores considering they have only won 1 game and kept 1 clean sheet in the entirety of this season so far, or maybe 2 clean sheets, sorry. But yeah, so only 2 clean sheets, so he's not only getting that plus 10 clean sheet bonus, is he? So yeah, but 13.5 worth of AA. He's starting every game as the left wing back essentially for how Crystal Palace play. And again, yeah, I just think overall solid player. It's not going to get the easiest for them as they got Villa, Newcastle, and City, Brighton, and Arsenal coming up. But with Ipswich, Bournemouth, Southampton, and Leicester, and potentially even Chelsea, because they're doing well, but they are a bit of a slip and slide there. Yeah, I think a very, very solid player for the price. So yeah, for £1.85, I don't think you can go too wrong with someone like Tyreek Mitchell, who does get ears in and out of the England team and the England setup as well. But yeah, overall, I think, yeah, a very solid player. Now, I've gone for his colleague as well, which is Daniel Munoz on the other side of the pitch here, right back or right mid. £1.85, again, I think is solid price. If we bring this down to the times of Crystal Palace and not that of Genk, puts very, very solid scores in, considering this was back in, I think it was January he joined, of last season. So, yeah, put up some really solid scores, and so far this season hasn't hit the heights as he did last season. And that's just how the cookie crumbles at the moment. But that's for obvious reasons. Palace are, I believe, underperforming. They are missing the likes of Elise, who had obviously moved to Bayern. Eze has obviously been injured for quite a while. So, yeah, you've got to take all that with a pinch of salt, and those are things to take into consideration when looking at plays like this. But again, like I stated before, with Ipswich coming up, Bournemouth, Southampton, Leicester, West Ham, who aren't very good at the moment, they have some difficult games, of course, but I still feel like they're going to give like someone like Newcastle at home a run for their money. And in which case, people like Munoz and Tyreek Mitchell will put up some decent AA. But yeah, again, for the price, £1.85, same as Tyreek Mitchell, definitely a solid option there for you. Now we'll go to the South Coast, and they've gone for Marcos Senesi, or Senesi, however you pronounce it. That's of the centre back of Bournemouth, £4.24 as the time recording. Again, Bournemouth are doing really well, I think, so far this season. Caused a few upsets and just looking solid all round. They have only kept the one clean sheet so far this season, which was the 2-0 win at Bournemouth against Arsenal. So he's obviously not getting that clean sheet bonus as much as he'd like. But as you can see, in the last 6 months, I mean, he's only had a DNP, which started the season, which I think was down to some form of injury, ankle injury, if I remember correctly, and also just a random sub appearance here. But nonetheless, he's been starting from that point onwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the bounce so far, and has put us some solid scores with no decisive actions, which is good, because you don't want a defender who is just relying on decisive actions like last man tackles, etc., because it's not going to happen every game. You want those players who are looking at those decent all-around scoring matrices, and yeah, he's putting 20, 47 at home to Arsenal, 23 and 37. Sure, he's got a -13 and a -5, not playing the best in those sort of games, but when he does play well, and Bournemouth play well in general, yeah, I think a very, very solid option there for your defensive slot. You can see here, hitting 13.7 worth of AA so far this season. So I think, again, a decent little shift. And again, for the price at £4.20, again, I don't think it's too shabby. They are at home to Brighton. Again, being, almost like a little derby in the South Coast, could be very nice to watch, that sort of game. And I can see Bournemouth sort of scraping it like 1-2-0. And in which case, then hopefully Marcos does here get himself another clean sheet bonus. They are also away to Wolves. At home to Tottenham, again, anything can happen at Bournemouth's home stadium there, and obviously away to Ipswich, etc. So again, I don't think too bad of a lineup you can put out there for regards to the Bournemouth lads, or even if you just are eyeing up someone like Marcos, again, a very solid option for your defensive slot. Again, a very similar player in regards to scoring, James Justin, the right back of Leicester City. Now, Leicester are going to struggle a lot this year. I don't feel like they have the best of squads, but there are some decent players in there who I've touted out, James being one of them. At £1 for, again, in-season card, very solid value. And again, look, at home to Chelsea, it's going to be a difficult game, but, we've seen worse things happen, or different, more surprising things happen in the Premier League. This is what his scores are over the last 6 months. Again, you're going to get these sort of scores, unfortunately, like, at 29, 40s, etc., because he is, at a team that is going to struggle this season. But if you were to use him in teams like here, against Bournemouth, getting himself an assist plus 12 AA, against Bournemouth, like I said, very solid score. Even with here, he scored the 2 goals against Arsenal in their 4-2 loss, but yet gets 7 overall scoring, and that was -16 for for his scoring matrix, they got minus. So obviously, if they didn't concede, etc., or concede as many goals, you're talking 15 plus worth of AA, which is very solid away from home against Arsenal. And again here against Everton in a 1-1 draw. So again, you can see here he's only had the 1 clean sheet bonus, and that was against Bournemouth. But yeah, this is the sort of scores you should be expecting this sort of player, and for that price I don't think you can complain all too much, especially if you just was to pop him in your gallery. You've got other defensive options, and then when it comes to a time like at home to West Ham or even at home to Wolves, things of that sort of nature, then obviously you can utilise him in your team there and then. I think, like I said, for £1 you can't go all too wrong. We'll go here now with the left back, or left mid basically, of Wolverhampton Wanderers, and that's going to be Nori here. Again, £4.24, under 23 till next year, July 1st. You can see there on screen as well. Yeah, but I think Wolves are going through a bit of a rough patch, as you can see here, starting with literally no wins in their first 10 games, apart from the game they've just recently had against Southampton, who are another relegation fodder team essentially. And it's a bit weird, he actually does seem to do better in games where they don't do too well. Now obviously he's got that goal and nearly 25 worth of AA at home to Liverpool. A goal and assist the very next game away to Brentford, but conceding 5 goals. Those 5 goals actually cost him 20 worth of AA. So, ifs and buts. But again, very similar beforehand to James Justin. Because obviously, you're going to expect that this sort of team is going to be in the lower half of the table, potentially even risking relegation again. So you're going to have to expect these sort of scores where they're not going to keep any clean sheets. They've only kept 1 clean sheet so far this season, and in which case he didn't actually do the best in there, only getting 8 AA, and that was obviously with the extra worth of clean sheet bonus here. So again, a bit of a weird player, but very, very solid indeed. He does look like he's touted to move from Wolves in the summer. United are being involved, and I know a few other clubs are being involved as well. So again, yeah, but a very, very solid option. Now we have here that of James Tarkowski. Now again, £1.85. Again, a very, very solid option, I feel. Very similar to someone like a James Justin again, where you were sort of hold on to him and utilise him at the points of the season where you feel like you're going to get best out of him. Because I feel like away to United, at home to Liverpool, and that away game against Arsenal again, probably not going to go in their favour, I would presume. Who knows? At home to Brentford could be okay, but Brentford are scoring with Mbuemo and Vissa now back, although they are sort of injury stricken at the moment, or slight doubts. But again, at home to Wolves could be a very solid option, considering they are struggling to somewhat score there. In regards to his scores as well, hitting himself 2 last man tackles or clearances off the line, but also conceding 2 penalties. This is over the course of the year. If we look at his scores over the course of so far this season, they aren't the best, I won't lie. But in regards to the AA, this guy can put up 15 worth of AA. Again, is very, very solid. Yeah, I just think overall solid player. There's not much to say on this sort of player, unfortunately. 32 years old. I believe he is the captain, if not vice captain, of Everton with Pickford. But all in all, yeah, I think he can put up a lot better scores than he is so far this season. I can see it starting this weekend against Brentford, that home game against Wolves, and maybe even something like a Chelsea or Forest or something like that, who are in a rich vein of form. So again, very, very solid option, I think, for that £1.85 mark. So next is going to be the French left-back of Aston Villa. Again, I think this is one of the more solid picks in this list of 10 players here. £3.70 as a time recording for his in-season card. Again, yeah, this is why his scores are really good so far this season. Had hit 100 the other day for France against Italy. So if we just maybe dwindle that down to Aston Villa, I don't think the scores there are all too shabby, considering he's only got just the 2 assists so far this season. He does typically, from what I remember, take the sort of free kick and set pieces. So he is obviously a threat for that. In the Champions League, which I've already said before, we're in the Europa Conference, or sorry, the Europa League. He hasn't played against Bologna or Bruges, Club Bruges, but he did play against Bayern Munich, so there could be some form of utility there depending on what the squad depth is like. But yeah, overall, you want to, obviously, this guy's going to be more or less, looks like he's going to be utilised in the Premier League. And if you were to change it to that, as you can see, so far, so good this season, having played at least 70 plus minutes in each game so far. And yeah, I think, again, just very, very solid option. Hitting 11.1 worth of AA as well. Hopefully he, finds the heights a bit more. I think Villa are not struggling, but well, I would probably say, I probably would say struggling in the sense of squad depth to be able to spread it across, obviously, the Premier League, FA Cup, and things like, obviously, the Champions League as well, which obviously is going to be difficult. That's the next step they'll need to take as a club. As you can see here, at home to Palace, they should win that. Palace are in a rubbish vein of form at the moment, as I stated earlier, with people like Mitchell and Munoz. At home to Juventus, they could win that. They did beat Bayern Munich the other day and got rid of that. But yeah, again, a home to Brentford, home to Southampton, should be winnable games. And yeah, I feel like someone like Lucas Digne is going to be a very solid option for your club, and someone I feel like is going to contribute quite a lot at Aston Villa. Next player, we're going to go with the right back of Nottingham Forest, who are indeed on fire. We're going to go for Ola Aina, I believe it's pronounced. Literally sitting at £5. Last average sort of is about that £4 mark. So there is a bit of wiggle room there, maybe in regards to negotiation. But overall, yeah, I think obviously Forest are doing really well so far this season. You can see here they have lost just the 2 games so far this season and drawn 3 or 4 times. So they are, I believe, in the top 6 or top 8 of the Premier League at the moment. Has hit himself the 100 score not too long ago, hitting that beautiful strike outside the box. If you haven't seen it, go 6, a very, very nice strike, and hitting 43 worth of AA against a very struggling, or a team struggling a lot of West Ham United. Now, away to Arsenal, look, I feel like they're going to obviously just lose that for obvious reasons. Arsenal are just a decent team. Same with City, and I think United with the new manager bounce should beat them here. And even Villa, it looks like, they are playing at home though, so who knows with that. But at home to Ipswich is definitely a solid option to play him in. Maybe that of Tottenham, Everton, and also Wolves. So they've got a nice few games also coming up, as well as some difficult ones. Now, I know I was obviously sound like I'm repeating myself a lot, but again, for just under basically £5, very solid option again for 28-year-olds. L5 of 60 is capable of that 100. How frequently he can do it this season, I'm not sure, but hopefully we see more results like this where he's just hitting that 65 plus scoring just from AA alone. And again here, 47 away to Saints as well. So yeah, I think a very solid option again for you guys. And the final pick I have for you guys is going to be that of Anderson, who's the new centre-back for Fulham. A very solid option, and probably one of my favourite picks out of the lot here. Again, for £4.20, I think is a very solid price for, obviously, in season. They're playing at home to Wolves. They've got some hard games coming up, mind you, with Tottenham, Brighton, Arsenal, and Liverpool all on the bounce there. But they do again here at home to Southampton, at home to Bournemouth, and at home to Ipswich not long after. So it's just getting over that period, maybe even waiting a week or two to see if they do lose or do draw, or Anderson doesn't get the best of scores. I can see that dropping again to £3.50 or £3 and lower. So obviously take that how you will. It does look like he sort of starts as well in regards to when they do play internationally as well, hitting himself basically just over 10 AA at home to playing a decent Spain squad. So yeah, again, but if we look at his scores in regards to maybe just the Premier League so far this season, again, I think they are solid scores. Even with his red card here, he got himself a last man tackle plus 13 worth of AA. Which was a bit of a shame, which is obviously why he got the DMP that very next week. But yeah, I think again just solid scores. Hits a 95 there again with a clearance off the line. He looks like he's going to be that sort of player, last man tackles and clearances off the line, as well as hitting you some very decent AA here. I think this is the highest so far we've seen so far this video, hitting 17.8 worth of AA so far in the since the start of this season. Now, yeah, whatever you guys think of that, let me know in the comments below. But that is going to be the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you when I'll see you. Peace out. And just a reminder guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload.